This reading, good morning, everyone. So nice to see you all. This reading reminds me, it makes me think about the autobiography of a yogi. Can you aim it a little bit more at me and a little cooler? Because the autobiography of a yogi is just out there. You know, millions have read autobiography of a yogi. And yet, where are the millions here? We don't see the millions. And we see a lot, but what's happening? You know, Master told Swamiji, and you've all seen it perhaps in the movie The Answer, that he put his vibrations into that book. And we often will buy extra autobiographies and pass them out to our friends. And nothing is wrong with that. That book is so powerful. And you can think, oh, you know, what Yogananda teaches is just about yoga. Ooh, what happened? Oh, the water? Oh. It's just the general path of yoga. And we even call our level 2 class the path of Raja Yoga, you know, which can be a very general path. And even when people come here and learn level 1, Hong Sa actually is taught in other paths also. Energization isn't, because Yoganandaji invented it. And of course, through his avatar powers, he has a right to invent additions to yoga. And then when we teach the Raja Yoga path, it is how Master taught it, how Swamiji taught it, but the principles of yoga, the principles of the yogic path are very similar between all yogic paths. But then there is a difference, the fact that we have a guru. So you can just go to a yoga center and it doesn't have a guru, and you can learn, you know, to follow your breath, or maybe there's, you can learn yoga postures or something like that, but there's not a guru involved. And so that's where things are different. But in that book, so many people have come to the path to pursue God, not through just Ananda, not just through other organizations, through Yoganandaji. Yogananda said that a true saint, a true avatar, will guide you to your true path. And that doesn't necessarily mean to himself. And so even in our level 3 class, which is the path of discipleship, in that class, people are learning about what it means to be a disciple, what discipleship means, and then at the end of that class, they choose or not choose to become disciples of Yoganandaji. And not just as if you want Kriya, you gotta, buy into this path and you have to become a disciple. It's not like that at all. It's part of the seriousness of the path we teach, that discipleship is required, because Kriya is a powerful technique, but it will only work for people who have taken discipleship with Yoganandaji. Now, there are other people who teach Kriya in their own way, and if they are your Sat Guru, then you can only learn it through your Sat Guru for it to be effective. And so, on the one hand, it feels like we are very narrow and, this is this path of Yoganandaji, and, which it is. But, as Dharmarajan said, we are not then saying you shouldn't follow your path. Everyone should come here to Kriya Yoga. And how do we know? We don't. We don't know what other people's paths should be. And I love in the book how it says the truth is just white light. The truth contains all the spectrum of the rainbow of the different paths. That's beautiful. It's like God created all these different paths because he knew we are all strangely different in our own different ways. It's such an organized thing that we can never understand the true organization of it, that everybody follows their own ray that is for them. And on this path, we have the ray of Yoganandaji. And in fact, Yoganandaji even said, if you've had Kriya before, you most likely have had it in past lives. And so what did we do after past lives? We died and went back into the astral world, following our ray that draws us up to the astral world. That astral world contains the ray of Yoganandaji. It contains our ray. And Yoganandaji's ray is like a very specific frequency. You know, maybe it's, 1,000.111111 or 1,000.000001. But a very specific frequency that, I guess I should have said 108.000. Anyway, a very, very specific frequency that resonates with us, with our astral body, with our feeling of attunement to the Guru. It's so exciting. And we prove it to ourselves. I've proved it to myself many times when, for instance, we went on pilgrimage to Rishikesh many times when we lived up in Delhi, because it's only a 4-hour train ride. So, that's Candyland of gurus. It's got so many different gurus there. And we decided that we were going to, kind of go to the different ashrams that are there and just meditate there. And so you think that's fun, that you're just going to the different places and meditating, and then you realize the vibration is just really completely different, not just from what you're used to. It's not like you come here and you get used to the vibration. You're coming here because you are seeking that vibration. That vibration is within you. Something inside of you this feels right. Oh my goodness. Something feels right here. And I remember I cried for the first 3 months I found Ananda, because, this is what I was seeking my whole life. Oh my goodness. And so anyway, the Shivananda ashram, very nice people, just not our vibration. And so we went to these different places. There was a guru there. What was his name? Margie. Margie, because it was short for Maharaji. Beautiful saint, but not my vibration. And so I did not feel a judgment at all, like, not my vibration. That's not mine either. Neither is that one. That's really ridiculous and disgusting. So it's more just like, whoa, not my vibration. And just as in the book it said, if you are trying to follow someone else's path, it's not going to work for you. So if people, that's why we don't say, hey, everybody in Chennai should get Kriya. Everybody should come here. No. It's only given to those who feel called to master as their disciple. And there have been a lot. Hundreds, actually, have come through Ananda Chennai to become disciples and get Kriya now over these past 10 years. But that vibration, and so on that pilgrimage to Rishikesh, you go kind of around in a circle, and there's 2 bridges, and it's really fun because there's these langurs that like to have bananas and things like that. So we really enjoy the nature around there, and the Ganga. And it's a nice part of the Ganga that people can dip in, and a few bodies floating down. What did you say?
I said unsuccessful dips.
Unsuccessful dips. But that's the nature of things. So anyway, you kind of go around in a circle, and there's this Kriya Yoga temple there that is a different path, a different teacher, and has beautiful murtis there of each of the masters. And but who's their main guru? Someone from Lahiri or Sri Yukteswar?
Through Sri Yukteswar.
Okay, so it's through Sri Yukteswarji's line. But anyway, that was the closest to the vibration that I had been in a while. Of course, we try and carry the vibration within, and we do, because that's when we know, oh, well, that was a nice meditation, but I really don't want to tune into the Shiva people, and I don't want to tune into the Marji people, and that's their business, Nothing's wrong with having spiritual friends of different paths. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's no need for arguing about what's better. I know some people who will read an autobiography of a yogi because it's so widely read, and not just by disciples, and they read that Kriya Yoga is the airplane path to God, and they think, I want that. But if it's not yours, and this path is not your own, you don't want it. Because even though it sounds incredibly appealing in the book, and it awakens that need and desire to find God. And so Yoganandaji is talking about a way to do that. So it awakens people, and they think that's the way to do it, but it's just not what you do. So anyway, though, because it was the closest, Sri Yukteswarji's ashram was the closest we had come to Kriya Yoga, I walked in and I just felt such relief. I was like, I can feel our masters in here. And it wasn't a judgment. It wasn't like, oh, those other places. I wanted to visit the other places. They felt good, just in terms of, yay, we're all on the spiritual path. We all love God, right? And so, but then when I went into the Kriya Yoga temple, I was just, I could really relax, because we spend our lives wanting to be in Master's vibration as deeply as possible. And so when you get poked by some of the other vibrations, it doesn't necessarily feel good. And I wouldn't recommend that you travel to all sorts of different gurus if you are on this path, because interestingly, Daya and Keshavaji, lead pilgrimages to different places, and I don't remember which pilgrimage it was, but they used to visit a certain ashram, and we've been on those pilgrimages where we've gone to different ashrams, and there's a Ramana Maharshi one that gets visited on the way to and from Babaji's cave, and it feels like you're visiting a friend, but you are with a bunch of Ananda people as well. But they went to some guru's ashram, and they were meditating with him, and he did something. I don't know, maybe he just gave a blessing to everybody, and then he said, and now you're all my disciples. And Daya and Keshav were like, oh no, because, you don't really want to bring a bunch of Ananda people and then who have dedicated their lives to Yoganandaji and then say, and now you're my disciples. And so anyway, that ashram was not visited again. And I don't know if people had to do anti-discipleship things afterwards, I mean, that's actually a serious thing. When people do come to us and they have a guru, we say, you can't get this because you have a guru. And if you are following a Sat Guru, that guru is telling you this is the way to God, whether it's through Kriya Yoga or whatever it is. Some gurus just say, sit near me, and you're going to find freedom by sitting near me. And so, or if they're not your Satguru, they're a guru that is helping you in the moment. And they may or may not know if they're your Satguru, if they're not, avatars, I guess. But if you are seriously following a path, we don't want to interfere with that. And you don't want to follow your path and do Kriya Yoga at the same time. It's two conflicting things to do. It's not attuning to your guru and doing what he wants you to do. You're just choosing from your own ego, well, I want to do that technique and I want to do that technique. But these techniques are for finding God through our guru. And so if someone feels deeply in their heart, no, I really feel this is my path and Yoganandaji is my Satguru, and my other guru, maybe he's not my Satguru. The Satguru is the final guru, the most important guru, I'm going to say, that takes you to God. The one assigned to you directly from God. This is the vibration, this is the way you are going to find freedom. And then we say, well, then you have to talk to your guru about this and find out what he thinks. Does he release you? And some people will actually talk to their guru and say, he feels this is my path now. He feels this is my path now. And he said, I release you. Doesn't mean he's not your friend. Doesn't mean you denounce. I hate that word, denounce. Some people will say, if you come here, you must denounce all paths you've been on. It's like, no. Denouncing is not the point. It's do I now feel deep in my heart, this is the path that's going to take me to God. And your guru, if he cares about your spiritual about your spiritual growth and your path, he will decide, yes or no for you. You may agree or not agree with him, that's between you and your guru. But I don't recommend going against someone who is your guru. Now, some people have a family guru. That's different. That's not someone who presents you with a path to God and all that kind of stuff. He might give your family general blessings, and the family calls him, he's our family guru. That's different. We've seen that many, 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 many times happen. But that's different than when you've taken vows, when you've pledged yourself as a disciple. So I remember when I first started this path, I went to a lot of gurus, and that was fun. It was before I felt Yoganandaji was my guru, even though I was reading autobiography at that time, and I felt, that I'm feeling drawn to this, but I wasn't even aware of Ananda yet. And so we were seeing all these different gurus in the San Francisco area. There was a Shivananda ashram. There was a Amrita Mai Ma, the woman from Kerala, the hugging saint. They'll sometimes call her Amachi, is what she's called in America. And I saw her many times. And then Satchidananda had an ashram in San Francisco. And then a woman named Guru Mai had just a lot of ashrams in California. We always felt California was a different country than the rest of America because of this yogic thing. Even Master said Los Angeles is the Benares of the West. And when you go to Los Angeles, and we live there, I don't know if I ever thought, it feels like Benares. But I have to say, it has a lot of people on different paths there. A lot of different places. I don't know, does it have a lot of ashrams there? I don't.
At least centers.
Yeah, it has a lot of different meditation centers. It has a lot of yoga. So, every street corner has a yoga center where people go and practice asanas. But So anyway, it was, I visited Ananda, and I felt such a pull. I felt scared. I'm like, what is this pull inside of me? It feels kind of scary. I'm not sure when I'm coming back. And this woman who I know very well now, Janaki Devi, she said, oh, it's, really nice to meet you. I hope you come back. And I said, and I was young. I was in my 20s. I said, I think I'm too young to be here. I didn't know what to say. I don't know why I said that, but anyway, I'm too young to be here. I don't even know where that came from. But so anyway, but then I started going to a meditation group that was near me and going to kirtans, and I just felt drawn. I didn't know anything about classes. I didn't know anything about level 1, level 2, level 3, nothing like that. I was just going to that place. And but then after about a year or so, I did learn more about that. But even before that, I would still visit other gurus. It was kind of like a guru season. Every spring or summer, I don't remember when it was, they would come in town, and so we would, even Thich Nhat Hanh, if you know him, he's a famous Buddhist guru. He probably wouldn't call himself that, but he has many disciples, actually. And so, we would just go on the guru circuit, as we called it in our American lingo. But it just felt like it was helping me grow, helping me become more aware. And then finally, at the Guru Mai ashram, I had been in parallel, going to Ananda, going to these gurus, and she was giving Shaktipat. I've told this story many times, but she gave Shaktipat, and I just came back to my seat, and I just thought, all right, I heard Yoganandaji is your guru. So this brings up the important point that when you are in the presence of a true saint, their goal is to help guide you to your Satguru. And Yoganandaji would say this. That's why we say people should take level 3, because the path of discipleship, it's not to grab them and make them disciples of Yoganandaji. It's to give them the power, give them the ability to tune into, through Yoganandaji, will he tell them who their path is? And even guide them. And Avatar will definitely say, you're not mine, but go over here. Swamiji is the story in the New Path about where someone came and they said, where should I go? And he said, go to this ashram. Sure. Oh, well, Swamiji tells a story of how someone was coming. They had even donated a lot towards a temple, and that person was saying, I'm trying to find my path, so should I come here? And Swamiji said, no, I think you should go to this path. And so rather than try to hold on to that person and make them, they're my own, or that guru that said, you're all my disciples now, instead, there is, freedom. Like, no, this isn't your path. I think you would go there. And the person said, oh, I was thinking of going there. And so that was their path. So the paths are many, aren't they? But once we find our path, after I heard that voice, Yoganandaji is your guru, I stopped visiting all the ashrams, except I went to Amrita Mai's ashram one more time the next year. And I felt so strange being there. I felt as though I was being cast out. That master was just saying, get out of there. What are you doing there? Go back to Ananda. And it was a very powerful feeling. And I didn't enjoy myself at all. My body got really sore sitting there, meditating there. It just wasn't right. Someone had this Kundalini experience, which is if you force the Kundalini to rise in your spine through certain techniques, it will burn your nerves. And so this person had a nerve burning thing and went up to Amachi. And I did not feel judgment towards those people. I did not feel like, oh, these people are following that path or anything like that. I loved Amachi at the time. And but not more than Yoganandaji for my spiritual growth, for my path. And then I knew Yoganandaji was my own. I just knew it. And from then on, I've not turned back. That's over 30 years ago. And maybe actually more than that, because this all came to me before I even started committing to Ananda. So both are important, both are true. Many are the paths, but we only have one path, and we want that path so that we can go deep in that path, so we can find God in that path. If you are still feeling, no, but I want to explore and I want to try other things and that's what I like to do, fine. You know, sooner or later you will find your path and want to go deeper in that path, whatever that is. But if you have found the path, you want to tune into that beautiful singular vibration, 108.0000000, whatever. And tune into that vibration to bring us. If you're feeling bored and restless, then do something else besides going to other gurus. Go hiking. Have fun. Don't feel you have to just be a serious yogi who, I better I'm feeling really restless. I better double down and force myself because I have willpower. No, don't do that. Go enjoy yourself. Be in nature. Get to a place of relaxation before you attempt to tune into Master and the gurus again. You want to enjoy yourself. You want the energy to be uplifted. Don't think that only meditation is going to do that for you. Meditation is incredibly important. It's a requirement if you want Kriya, all these things. But it's not the only thing you do in your life. Your life has to be well-rounded. Now, maybe you learn over time, I only find enjoyment in listening to higher vibration music, like Swamiji's music or Master's chants, or I just enjoy reading the books of this path, or you find that you surround yourself more and more with what is going on here. That can be the most enjoying because it keeps you in a higher consciousness state more, and we should get addicted to that feeling of higher consciousness in order to keep us on our path of meditation. There's so much joy in the bliss we can get from this path. It's so wonderful. I remember thinking, this is a true path. Because I was doing this other kind of thing before Ananda, and, the most they did was guided meditations about dolphins. And, nothing's wrong with feeling relaxed with someone saying, now feel as though you're swimming in the ocean and now you meet a friendly dolphin. And, it's a guided meditation of whatever. But I always felt there was a ceiling when I was on that path. Like my head was kind of hitting a ceiling. It wasn't offering more of what I needed. But then when I found Ananda, I just thought, okay, this path takes you to infinity. This path doesn't have an upper ceiling. This path allows you to go as high as you can go. And so, of course, as high as you can go within. There's no corporate ladder here to climb or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that. Instead, it's all about the inner path and all about finding that. So, both are true. The paths are many, but once you find your path, go deep in it. It's not narrowing yourself and feeling like I have to be narrow now in my life. Other people might say that, like Dharmarajan said. They might think you're excluding them. But you don't have to present it that way. You can just say, well, I like it. It makes me happy. Can't I do that? And you don't have to tell them, and I have a burning desire for God within my heart. Don't you want that too? We don't have to say it. If you're saying it to ears that don't want to hear, there's a quote in the Bible that may not be a polite thing to say, but it's called pearls before swine. And it just means, if you're casting precious gems in front of people who don't want to hear, that's what they're saying in that quote. So, there's no reason to try and influence people around you. They will ask you when they see you behave in a dharmic way, in a loving way, in a patient way, especially if you used to be angry all the time. Now suddenly you've changed. What are you doing? Those kinds of things. They will see that, and then they may say, what are you doing? And then sometimes we do find that people in families all end up coming together. One by one, people go, oh my gosh, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, they're part of this path too, but they choose on their own. No one says, everyone in my family has this Sat Guru. They might say again, we have a family guru, but for Sat Guru, everyone has to make their choice. And as soon as you say you have to read this book and you have to do this and now some may go, oh, okay, that sounds nice. But others, it might inside create an inner resistance to what you're saying. And they may not even tell you, but they know to be a few feet away from you at all times. Just like something strange is going on here. Whoop, whoop. That's alarm. So we want to be balanced the way we do present the teachings if we are telling others about it, and also detached. That detachment is very important. On the other hand, people will buy a bunch of autobiographies of a yogi and just pass them out. At Steve Jobs' funeral, he bought how many? Hundreds of them. He wanted to buy them from Ananda, but we didn't have them in stock, as many as he needed. So he bought them elsewhere, which is fine because that book is published by many. And he gave them to everybody at the funeral. So, it's just offering the book. It's not saying you have to read it, just, no, it's just some book. I found I liked it. So anyway, I'm not against doing that. It's the energy you do it with. If it's like, oh, this is a great book, I really liked it, versus you must read this book. This path is so great, which is what we feel inside. But you must. I remember I was pretty fanatical in the beginning. I feel fanatical inside, actually, but, we've learned how to talk to not be fanatical anymore. Also, I don't feel attached to whether people do stick to this path or what. But, people sometimes come here, they learn Kriya, then they go away for a while, and then they come back. And it's just because karma drew them away, and we don't chase after them, where are you? Why aren't you? They taken away, and sometimes they'll say, I'm just moving away for a job or whatever it is, and then they find their way back and recommit or something, and Swamiji always left the door open, always. So there's no, you left the path, well, what about you? There's none of that either. People have their own reasons, their own path, their own way that they have to follow this path, their own way that they have to integrate all the teachings inside and then have their own unique relationship to Master in their own way. And it doesn't mean you reinvent the teachings or anything like that, but the way you express is your own individual way. And that might relate by you're supposed to follow a different path. Some people go and they're on a different path, and we say, God bless you, and hope you find God that way. So the paths are many, and it's a beautiful thing that God has given us. God bless you.